Hello students, this is SriRam Shastri. So today I have come up with the new question paper of 13th September 2020 NEET biology question paper. I have come up with the answer key, and also in short I will be discussing the answers. So first question is a direct question, a simple question. If the distance between two consecutive base pairs is 0.34 nanometer and the total number of base pairs of DNA double helix in a typical mammalian cell is 6.6 into 10 raised to power 9 base pairs, then the length of the DNA is approximately. So if you talk about this reading is regarding mammalian cell and the length of DNA, directly the answer is about 2.2 meters will be the right answer. Okay, so that is the complete length of the genome in mammalian cell. Then bilateral symmetrical and acoelomate animals are exemplified by Platyhelminthes, Ascalmanthus, Annelida and Ctenophora. So if you talk about Ctenophora, they are acoelomates, but they are not bilateral symmetrical. They exhibit radial symmetry. Annelida, they are true coelomates and they are bilaterally symmetrical, so it is not the answer. Ascalmanthus are what you call pseudo-coelomates, not acoelomates, so it's not the answer. Platyhelminthes is the first phylum which are acoelomates. They don't have any coelom, but they exhibit bilateral symmetry. So the right answer is 1, Platyhelminthes. Then match the following columns and select the correct option you have to choose from this. So gregarious polyphagous pest Asterias, adult with radial symmetry and larva with bilateral symmetry scorpion, booklungs Ctenoplana, bioluminescence locusta. So gregarious and polyphagous pest, recently in the days of corona there was an attack of an insect, right? There was a attack of an insect, and the insect which basically affected basically was locust. So gregarious polyphagous pest is locust, right? Then adult with radial symmetry and larva with bilateral symmetry exhibited by mainly the Asterias, that is the Echinodermata have bilateral symmetrical what we call as larva, whereas radial symmetry or pentaradial symmetry of adult. Then if you talk about book lungs are present in scorpions, so it will be C, second one. Bioluminescence is exhibited by Ctenoplana and Pleurobrachia, that is the second phylum, right? So the right answer is 4, 1, 2, 3. So the first option will be the right answer. Then which is important site of formation of glycoproteins and glycolipids in eukaryotic cell? Peroxisomes, Golgi bodies, polysomes, endoplasmic reticulum. So in this question, basically peroxisomes, Golgi bodies and polysome endoplasmic reticulum is the option, and he has asked about glycoprotein and glycolipid formation. So directly the answer is Golgi bodies. Golgi bodies are the place where generally you come across the synthesis of glycoproteins and glycolipids. Then the QRS complex in stands for, okay, QRS complex stands for is the question here, right? The QRS complex is a standard ECG represents, okay, PQRS wave, depolarization of auricles, depolarization of ventricles, repolarization of ventricles, repolarization of auricles. So basically if you get the answer right, PQRST, the ECG curve, the right answer for this should be depolarization of ventricles. Okay, QRS curve stands for depolarization of ventricles. Then match the following and select the correct option. Floating ribs located between second and seventh ribs, then acromion, head of the humerus, scapula, clavicle, glenoid cavity do not connect the sternum. So which one is correct you have to identify in these options. Then if you talk about this one, okay, so first is floating ribs. Floating ribs do not connect with the sternum, the 11th and 12th one. So it is 4. A is 4. B, acromion process. Acromion process is basically seen in clavicle. Okay, Acromion process is seen in basically clavicle. So B is 3. Then scapula. Scapula is located between second and seventh rib. Second and seventh rib. That is the correct one. And second, what you call as the glenoid cavity is the region where head of humerus fits. So the right answer is third option, 4, 3, 1 and 2. Then coming to the next question here. Experimental verification of chromosomal theory of inheritance was done by Sutton and Boveri, Morgan and Mendel. So basically here one of the person who was involved directly in chromosomal theory of inheritance for experimental verification was Mr. Boveri. So the right answer for seventh question should be Morgan. Sutton and Boveri is not the answer. Morgan was the person. T.H. Morgan was the person who was responsible for chromosomal theory of inheritance. Then identify the incorrect statement. Sapwood is involved in conduction of water and mineral from root to leaf. Sapwood is the innermost secondary xylem and is lighter in color due to deposition of tannin, resins, oils. Hardwood is dark in color. Hardwood does not conduct water but gives mechanical support. You have to identify the wrong one. So in the eighth question, if you talk about sapwood is the innermost secondary xylem and is lighter in color is what you call as the incorrect statement. It should be opposite of that. Okay. Then match the following columns and select the correct option. Column 1 is pituitary gland, thyroid, adrenal and pancreas. Second one are the diseases related to its abnormality. Graves' disease, diabetes, diabetes insipidus and Addison's disease. So pituitary gland, if you basically talk about, right, so pituitary gland is related to diabetes insipidus, that is posterior pituitary ADH hormone. Thyroid gland is related to Graves' disease. Adrenal gland is related to Addison's disease. Pancreas is related to diabetes mellitus. So the right answer should be the second option. Then match the organisms with its use in biotechnology. Here are the options: Bacillus thuringiensis, Thermus aquaticus, Agrobacterium tumefaciens, Salmonella typhimurium. And here are the other options: cloning vector, construction of first rDNA molecule, rDNA polymerase, and cryoproteins. So for this, the right answer should be Bacillus thuringiensis is being used in cryoproteins, right? Then the second one, Thermus aquaticus. Thermus aquaticus is being used in DNA polymerase extraction. Then Agrobacterium tumefaciens was the first cloning vector. It is used as cloning vector. Salmonella typhimurium was basically first construction of first rDNA molecule was being done by Salmonella typhimurium. So the right answer should be option 1. Then identify the substance and having glycosidic bond and peptide bond respectively in their structures. Glycerol, trypsin, cellulose, lecithin, inulin and insulin, chitin and cholesterol. So you have to identify this options. Okay, you have to identify correctly out of these options. चलिए identify कर लेते हैं. In the 11th question, inulin and insulin. Okay, glycosidic bond and peptide bonds respectively are present in inulin and insulin. That's the right answer. Name the enzyme that facilitates opening of DNA helix during transcription. And the options are DNA helicases, DNA polymerases, RNA polymerases, and DNA ligases. So again, if you talk about this question, the right answer should be RNA polymerases. Third option will be the right answer. If the head of the cockroach is removed, it may live for few days because the cockroach does not have nervous system. The head holds a small portion of nervous system while the rest is still situated along the ventral part of the body. The head holds 1/3 of a nervous system while the rest is situated along the dorsal of the body. The supraesophageal ganglia of the cockroach are situated in the ventral part of the abdomen, which is correct option. If a cockroach head is removed, then still it can live for few days. What does happen? The option correct for this is second one. The head holds a small proportion of nervous system while the rest is situated along the ventral part of the body is the right option. Then Select the correct events that occur during the inspiration. During inhalation process, what is the correct statement that you have to identify? Contraction of diaphragm, contraction of external intercostal muscle, pulmonary volume decreases, intrapulmonary pressure increases. So these are the options, and the right answer is intrapulmonary pressure increases is the very correct one. And basically if you talk about no, it's not the right one. ओके यहाँ पे ऑप्शंस ऐसे दिए गए हैं. यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई हाउ मेनी सेंटेंस आर करेक्ट, राइट? सो फर्स्ट ऑप्शन इज सी एंड डी, सेकेंड ऑप्शन इज ए बी सी, third option is only D, and fourth option is A and B. In that way, if you talk about contraction of diaphragm is very correct. Contraction of external intercostal muscle is correct. Pulmonary volume decreases नहीं increase होता है, so it's not correct. Intrapulmonary pressure decrease होता है, so it is also not correct. So right answer is fourth option. Then, by which method was a new breed Hissadale of sheep formed by using Bicaneri eaves and merino rams? Mutational breeding, crossbreeding, inbreeding, outcrossing. So this is related to strategies in enhancement of food and food production chapter. So you have to directly answer this question as crossbreeding mechanism, right? Which one of the following is most abundant protein in animals? Collagen, lectin, insulin, or hemoglobin? Which protein is highest in concentration? Collagen fibers are highest in number, and it's the highest and most abundant form of protein in animals. Then, how many true breeding pea plant varieties did Mendel select as pairs which were similar except in one character with contrasting traits? 2, 14, 8, or 4? That's the question here, and the right answer directly is 14. 14 were the right answer. Then, the body of ovule is fused with a funicle at micropyle, nucellus, chulaza, or hilum. Which part it is connected to? Funicle is connected to the part called hilum. If you remember the second chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants and the structure of anatropous ovule, the right answer is hilum. Which of the following is correct about viroids? Right? So again, you have to remember the chapter number 2, biological classification. In that, viroids is the topic. They have free RNA without protein coat. They have DNA with protein coat. They have free DNA without protein coat. They have RNA with protein coat. So if you talk about viroids, they are naked RNA molecules. So the right answer is they have free RNA without protein coat. First option is the right answer. Then, the number of substrate level phosphorylations in one turn of citric acid cycle is 1, 2, 3, or 0. How many what you call a substrate level phosphorylation occurs in C3 cycle is the question. Not C3 cycle, citric acid cycle, right? That is the question. Which is citric acid cycle? Krebs cycle is called a citric acid cycle. We are talking about Krebs cycle here, and the right answer is 1. In one substrate level phosphorylation in one turn citric acid cycle, 1 is the right answer. The products of reaction catalyzed by nitrogenase in root nodules of leguminous plants is or are nitrate alone, ammonia and oxygen, ammonia and hydrogen, ammonia alone. So if you talk about the nitrogen fixation process, chapter number 11, PUC first year or 11th standard, plant physiology, mineral nutrition, nitrogen fixation or nitrogen cycle, you have to remember that. So the right answer for this question basically is the third option, ammonia and hydrogen, right? Ammonia and hydrogen is the right answer. Correct. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Match the following disease with the causative agent of organism with the correct option. Typhoid, pneumonia, filariasis, malaria, Wuchereria, Plasmodium, Salmonella, Haemophilus. Everybody knows the answer, right? Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhimurium. ठीक है. Pneumonia is caused by basically the Haemophilus influenzae. Then filariasis is caused by Wuchereria bancrofti, malaria caused by Plasmodium species. First option is the right answer. Then, from his experiment, Stanley Miller produced amino acids by mixing the following in a closed flask. methane, hydrogen, ammonia, and water vapor at 800 degrees Celsius, methane, hydrogen, ammonia, and water vapors at 600 degrees Celsius, methane, hydrogen, and ammonia at water vapors at 600 degrees Celsius, methane, hydrogen, and ammonia, and water vapors at 800 degrees Celsius. Now for this again you have to remember the chapter called evolution, right? So it is CH4, H2 and H3 and water vapors at 800 degrees Celsius. This is the right answer. Fourth option is the right answer. Which of the following statement is correct? Correct statement you have to identify. Adenine pairs with thymine through one hydrogen bond. Adenine pairs with thymine through three hydrogen bond. Adenine does not pair with thymine. Adenine pairs with thymine through two hydrogen bonds. So basically we know adenine bonds with the thymine and it is with the two hydrogen bonds, right? Two hydrogen bonds के साथ वो bond करता है. So the right answer is fourth option. Then match the following with respect to meiosis: zygotine, pyridine, diplotin, terminalization, chiasmata, crossing over, and the other options are dikinesis and synapsis. So basically if you talk here, the zygotine zygotine is the place where synapsis takes place. Pachytene is the step where crossing over takes place. Diplotin is the stage where chiasmata formation takes place, and diakinesis is terminalization of crossing over process. So the right answer is first option. Then choose the correct pair from the following. Polymerases break the DNA into fragments. Nucleases separate the two strands of DNA. Exonucleases make cuts at specific positions with DNA. Ligases join the two DNA molecules. Select the option including. अच्छा इसमें से पहले select कर लेंगे. 26th question. The right answer is fourth. Ligases join the two ends of the DNA molecules. Then select the option including all sexually transmitted diseases only. Gonorrhea, malaria, genital herpes, AIDS, malaria, filaria, cancer, AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea, syphilis, genital herpes. So basically in this question, if you talk about gonorrhea, genital herpes, both are STDs, but malaria is not an STD. Malaria in second option is also not an STD. Filaria is also not an STD. In third option, cancer is also not STD. Fourth option is correct. Gonorrhea, syphilis, and genital herpes. All three are sexually transmitted diseases. So the fourth option is the right answer. Embryological support for evolution was disapproved by Alfred Wallace, Charles Darwin, Oparin, Carl Ernst von Baer. Who disapproved embryological support is the question here. And the answer for this is Mr. Carl Ernst von Baer was the person for it. Then the roots that originate from the base of the stem are primary root, prop root, lateral root, fibrous root. So again for this question they are called as fibrous root. You also call it as stilt roots, a type of fibrous root at the base of the stem. In monocots you find it. In gel electrophoresis, separated DNA fragments can be visualized with the help of ethidium bromide in UV radiation, acetocarmine in UV radiation, ethidium bromide in infrared radiation, acetocarmine in bright blue radiation. So again for this question the right answer is ethidium bromide in ultraviolet radiation. First option is the right answer. Which of the following hormone levels will cause release of ovum or ovulation from the Graafian follicle? High concentration of progesterone, low concentration of LH, low concentration of FSH, high concentration of estrogen. High concentration of LH causes it, but even in absence of what does it cause? That is the question. So for this question again, high concentration of estrogen is also required. So the right answer is fourth option. Then goblet cells of alimentary canal are modified from columnar epithelium, chondrocytes, compound epithelium, squamous epithelium. Goblet cells are mucus secreting cells and they are modified from columnar epithelium cells itself. First option is the right answer. Snow blindness in Antarctic region is due to inflammation of cornea due to high dose of UVB radiation, high reflection of light from snow, damage to retina caused by infrared rays, freezing of fluids in eye by low temperature. So out of these options, if you basically talk about, so it should be inflammation of cornea due to high dose of ultraviolet type B radiation, first option, because there is a hole in the ozone layer. First option is right. Match the following concerning essential elements and their functions in plants: iron, zinc, boron, manganese. Fertilizers of water, pollen germination required for chlorophyll biosynthesis, and indole 3-acetic acid auxins biosynthesis. And select the correct options here. First you have to match and then select the correct options. So if you talk about here, iron helps in required for chlorophyll biosynthesis, then zinc for auxin biosynthesis, boron for germination of pollen grains, then manganese for fertilizers of water. Second option will be the right answer for this. Then BT cotton variety, that was developed by the introduction of toxic gene of Bacillus thuringiensis, is resistant to fungal disease, plant nematodes, insect predator, insect pest. So BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, what they are resistant to is the question, and the right answer for this is pest. It is pest resistant variety of plants. Then ray florets have superior ovary, hypogynous ovary, half inferior ovary, inferior ovary. Ray florets. So again, if you remember inflorescence topic, you can answer this question. So for this ray florets, the right answer is inferior ovary. The ovary is inferior to thalamus. Montreal Protocol was signed in 1987 for the control of emission of ozone depleting substance, release of greenhouse gases, disposal of e-waste, transport of genetically modified organisms from one country to another. Out of this, which one is the right answer? Montreal Protocol was signed for emission of control over emission of ozone depleting substance is the right answer. First option. Identify the wrong statement with regard to restriction enzymes. They cut the DNA strand of DNA at palindromic sites. They are useful in genetic engineering. Sticky ends can be joined by using DNA ligases. Each restriction enzyme functions by inspecting the length of DNA sequence. Which one is correct? Sorry, which one is a wrong statement? Here, sticky ends can be joined by DNA ligases is the wrong answer. So the wrong statement is third. The infectious stage of Plasmodium that enters human body is sporozoite, female gametocytes, male gametocytes, or trophozoite. So the right answer for this you know already, that is sporozoites are infectious to human, trophozoites are infectious to mosquito. Then meiotic division of a secondary oocyte is completed by at the time of copulation, after zygote formation, at the time of fusion of sperm with the ovum, prior to ovulation. Meiotic division of secondary oocyte. It's a very, very important question. At the time of fusion of sperm, only the second meiotic division completes. Most of the time in textbook, it is given that in ovulation, ovum is released. No, ovum is not released. It is in the secondary oocyte stage itself. That secondary oocyte converts into ovum only during the fusion of sperm, because they require a centriole for the division, and it happens at the time of fusion of sperm. Third option is right answer. The oxygenation activity of Rubisco enzyme in photorespiration leads to formation of one molecule of 3 carbon compound, one molecule of 6 carbon compound, one molecule of 4 carbon, and one molecule of 2 carbon compound, two molecules of 3 carbon compound. Oxygenation activity of Rubisco is the question, and the answer is one molecule of 3 carbon compound. Then, which of the following statements are true for the phylum Chordata? In Urochordata, notochord extends from head to tail and it is present throughout their life. In Vertebrata, notochord is present during the embryonic period only. Central nervous system is dorsal and hollow. Chordata is divided into three subphyla: Hemichordata, Tunicata, and Cephalochordata. Which of the following are true? C and A and B, B and C, D and C. Again, for this question, very clear answer is seen here. In Eurochordata, notochord extends from head to tail and is present throughout the life is wrong. Only the larva, the tail part of Eurochordata has it. The Euro refers to tail. So first A is wrong. Then D, chordata is divided into 3 subphyla. It is also wrong. It is divided into 4 subphyla. Okay. Actually, hemichordata is now included in non-chordata. So 3 subphyla only, but they are not hemichordata. It starts from tunicata, cephalochordata and vertebrata, not hemichordata. So the D option is also wrong. B and C are right. So third option will be the right answer. Then match the following columns and select the correct option. Clostridium botulinum, Trichoderma polysporum, Monascus purpureus and Aspergillus niger. Options: cyclosporin A, butyric acid, citric acid, blood cholesterol lowering agent. चलिए मैच कर लेते हैं इसको 43rd क्वेश्चन को. Clostridium botulinum for butyric acid, Trichoderma polysporum for cyclosporin A, Monascus purpureus for blood cholesterol lowering substance, and Aspergillus niger for citric acid. First option is the right answer. Which of the following pairs of unicellular algae, Gelidium and Gracilaria, Anabinia and Volvox, Chlorella and Spirulina, Laminaria and Sargassum? So for this question again, Chlorella and Spirulina is the right answer. In light reaction, plastoquinone facilitates the transfer of electrons from cytochrome B6F complex to photosystem 1, photosystem 1 to NAD+, photosystem 1 to ATP synthetase, photosystem 2 to cytochrome B6F complex. Which one is right for this? The fourth option will be the correct one. Photosystem 2 to cytochrome B6F complex. Fourth option is right. Z scheme of what you call as electron transport, you have to remember for this. Then, presence of which of the following conditions in urine are indicative of diabetes mellitus? Uremia and renal calculi, ketonuria and glycosuria, renal calculi and hypoglycemia, uremia and ketonuria. Presence of the following includes diabetes mellitus. Okay, so you know the right answer is ketonuria and glycosuria. Glucose is present and ketone bodies are present in the urine. So it is second option. Secondary metabolites such as nicotine, then strychin or caffeine and are products by plants for their growth response, defense action, effect of reproduction, nutritive value. Basically, they are defense mechanism. Nicotine, strychnine and caffeine are responsibly defense mechanism for plants, but we use it for our benefit. Which of the following would help in prevention of diuresis? Reabsorption of sodium and water from renal tubules due to aldosterone, atrial natriuretic factor causes vasoconstriction, decrease in secretion of renin by JG cells, more water reabsorption due to undersecretion of ADH. Which is the correct option? First option, that is reabsorption of sodium and water from renal tubules due to aldosterone prevents diuresis. Again, select the correct match. Phenylketonuria, autosomal dominant trait. Sickle cell anemia, chromosomal recessive trait, chromosomal number 11. Thalassemia, X-linked. Hemophilia, Y-linked. चलिए इसका भी जवाब बता दीजिए. Sickle cell anemia is autosomal recessive trait and chromosomal number 11 it is related to. So the right answer should be second option, sickle cell anemia. Which of the following is not an attribute of a population? Natality, mortality, species interaction, sex ratio. Which is not an attribute of a population? So again, if you talk about population, what we do not consider is species interaction. Species interaction is not related to population, whereas sex ratio, mortality and natality are related to population. Which of the following statements about inclusion bodies is incorrect? These are involved in ingestion of food particles. They lie free in cytoplasm. These represent reserve material in cytoplasm. They are not bound by any membrane. So for this, again, the easiest answer is they are involved in ingestion of food particle is the right answer. The transverse section of plant shows following anatomical features. What features you see, that you have to tell. Large number of scattered vascular bundles surrounded by bundle sheath, large conspicuous parenchymatous ground tissue, vascular bundles conjoined and closed, phloem parenchyma absent. So identify the category of plant and its part. These are the features what you have observed. You have to identify which part is it. Okay, चलिए बताइए. Monocotyledonous root, dicotyledonous stem, dicotyledonous root, monocotyledonous stem. So if you are talking here about large number of scattered vascular bundles are surrounded by sheath, it is found in monocot stem itself. In root, it is radially arranged, whereas scattered, you find it in monocot stem itself. In dicot root and dicot stem, it is radial only. Random and scattered vascular bundles are specifically found in monocotyledonous stem. So fourth option is the right answer. Chalo. In relation to gross primary productivity and net primary productivity of an ecosystem, which of the following statement is correct? GPP is always more than NPP. GPP and NPP are one and the same. There is no relationship between gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Gross primary productivity is always less than net primary productivity, which is correct statement. Again, for this, gross primary productivity is always more than net primary productivity. Gross is complete energy produced, whereas net primary productivity is nothing but gross primary productivity minus respiratory loss is less than GPP. So the right answer is first option. In water hyacinth and water lily, pollination takes place by water currents only, wind and water only, insect and water only, insects or wind. See, water hyacinth and water lily, they grow on surface of water and flowers are aerial. So pollination can either occur by wind or insects. So the right answer should be fourth option. They are not submerged plant. Which of the following is put into anaerobic sludge digester for further sewage treatment? Floating debris, effluents of primary treatment, activated sludge, or primary? Now again in this question, basically the right answer should be, it's called as activated sludge, third option. The process responsible for facilitating loss of water in liquid from the tip of grass blades at night and in early in the morning is root pressure, imbibition, plasmolysis, transpiration. Loss of water in liquid form is called as guttation, and guttation occurs through hadathodes, and it occurs mainly due to which kind of a pressure? We all know it's basically root pressure. Higher the root pressure and lower the temperature, that causes guttation. First option is right. Cuboidal epithelium with brush border of microvilli is found in ducts of salivary glands. Proximal convoluted tubule of nephrons, eustachian tube, a lining of intestine. Cuboidal epithelium is found in which place is the question, and for this the right answer is proximal convoluted tubule of nephron is the right answer. Select the correct statement is the next question. Then glucagon is associated with hypoglycemia. Insulin acts on pancreatic cell and adipocytes. Insulin is associated with hypoglycemia. Glucocorticoids stimulate gluconeogenesis. Okay, the right answer for this is glucocorticoids stimulate gluconeogenesis. Fourth option is the right answer. Which of the following is not an inhibitory substance governing seed dormancy? Abscisic acid, phenolic acid, parascorbic acid, gibberellic acid. Again, for this question, the right answer is gibberellic acid. Gibberellic acid is not an inhibitory substance for governing seed dormancy. According to Robert May, the global species diversity is about 20 million, 50 million, 7 million, 1.5 million. This is an NCRT recording. According to that, you must answer this. So, biodiversity chapter, you have to remember for this concept of biodiversity. In NCRT, it's given around 7 million species. 7 million species, out of which around 1.5 to 1.7 million species we have identified. So, the right answer is third option. Match the trophic levels with their correct species examples in grassland ecosystem. Fourth trophic level, second trophic level, first trophic level, third trophic level. Crow, vulture, rabbit, grass. Now the food chain is asked in a different manner. Okay, so the answer for this you can see. Fourth trophic level is vulture. Then second trophic level is rabbit. First trophic level is grass. Third trophic level is crow. Okay, producer, consumer, like that you have to go on answering the question. Okay, so in that manner the right answer should be fourth option. The first phase of translation is recognition of DNA molecule, amino acylation of tRNA, recognition of an anticodon, binding of mRNA to ribosome. Yeah, good question. Again, the answer is directly amino acylation of tRNA is the right answer. Strobili or cones are found in Pteris, Mercantia, Equisetum, Salvinia. So strobili are cone-shaped structures which are basically found in some pteridophytes and most of the gymnosperms. Which is that plant is the question. Okay, and the answer directly is Salvinia. Salvinia has the cones or strobili. Match the following columns and select the correct option. Column 1, 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits, heterocircle caudal fin, A bladder, poison sting, trigon, cyclostome, chondrichthyes, osteichthyes. First we'll match up, then we'll get the answer directly. Right. Okay, you can see here. Yeah, for 63 question I said Salvinia. No, it should not be Salvinia, it should be Equisetum. Equisetum or horsetails have cones, so the right answer is Equisetum, not Salvinia. Sorry for the mistake. Then 64th question, if you see here, matching the following. Okay, 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits are found in cyclostome. Heterocircle caudal fin is found in chondrichthyes. A bladder is found in osteichthyes or bonifacius. Poison sting is found in trigon or stingray. Fourth option is right in this question. Then some dividing cells exit the cell cycle and enter vegetative inactive stage. This is called quiescent stage or G0 stage. This process occurs at the end of G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase, M phase. So he has given question itself gives the answer in this. What is the question he's telling you here? What is that? See, he is telling you that some dividing cells exit the cell cycle. They directly don't exit. Once the division is completed, then they exit. So it is the fourth option. After M phase, multiplication phase, they enter into G0 phase. That's true. Identify the correct statement with reference to human digestive system. Serosa is the innermost layer of alimentary canal. Ileum is a highly coiled part. Vermiform appendix arises from duodenum. Ileum opens into small intestine. You have to identify the correct statement. Okay, so the correct statement is ileum is a highly coiled part in the human digestive system. Serosa is not the innermost layer. Vermiform arises from cecum. Ileum opens into small intestine. No, it opens into large intestine. So the right answer is second option. In which of the following techniques the embryo are transferred to assist those females who cannot conceive? Gift and Zift, ICSI and Zift, Zift and SCSI, Zift and IUT. Now this is a question. Gift is gamete intrafallopian transfer. Zift is zygote intrafallopian transfer. ICS is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. IUT is intrauterine transfer. Now out of this, which is the correct option? The right option is fourth one. ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer, or intrauterine transfer directly. Fourth option. The plant parts which consist of two generations, one within the other. Pollen grains inside the anther, germinated pollen grain into two male gametes, seed inside the fruit, embryo sac inside the ovule. Out of these options, how many options are correct is the question. First option is A, B and C and D, A and D, A only. Okay, चलिए इसका भी जवाब ले लेते हैं. That is, pollen grains inside anther is correct. Germinated pollen grain with two male gamete is not the correct one. Seed inside the fruit is not correct one. Embryo sac inside the ovule is correct. So it is third option. Dissolution of a synaptonemal complex occurs during. So chapter locomotion and movement, you have to remember. Sorry, cell cycle and cell division. Dissolution of synaptonemal complex is with reference to not synapse, it's with respect to crossing over. So you have to remember cell cycle, cell division, meiosis, prophase 1, zygodine, diplotin, leptotin, patotin. For this again the right answer is diplotin process. Match the following columns and select the correct options. Organ of Corti, cochlea, eustachian tube, stapes. These are the parts of ear. Connects middle ear and pharynx, coiled part of labyrinth, attached to oval window, located on the membrane. Which option is correct? चलिए ये भी ले लेते हैं. Organ of Corti is located on basilar membrane is correct. Cochlea, coiled part of labyrinth, it's correct. Eustachian tube connects middle ear to pharynx is correct. Stapes attached to the oval window. Yeah, that's true. Second option is the right answer. Then the ovary is half inferior in mustard, sunflower, plum, brinjal. Plant families you have to remember for this. And the right answer is plum family. Plum. Then identify the basic amino acid from following. Glutamic acid, lysine, valine, tyrosine. Basic amino acid. Lysine and glycine. These are the only basic form of amino acids. So it is second option here. Match the following columns. This time match the following बहुत ज़्यादा दिया गया है. Okay, so match the following columns and select the correct option. Column 1, eosinophil, basophil, neutrophils, lymphocyte. Column 2, immune response, phagocyte, release histamine, destructive enzyme, release granules containing histamine. चलिए फर्स्ट मैच कर लेते हैं इनको. Eosinophils release granules containing histamine. Basophils involved in Eosinophil release histamine, destructive enzyme. Basophil release granules containing histamine. Neutrophil phagocytosis. Lymphocytes immune response. So fourth option is right. Then match the following. Inhibiting catalytic activity, possess peptide bond, cell wall material in fungi, secondary metabolite. Ricin, malonate, chitin, collagen. Okay. Answers are, again you have to choose the correct options out of these. Okay, we'll take up the question. Inhibitor of catalytic activity is malonate. Processes peptide bonds is collagen, it's a protein. Cell wall material in fungi is chitin. Secondary metabolite is ricin. So it is fourth option. Identify the statement with regard to G1 phase, gap 1 phase of interphase. Recognition of cell component takes place. Cell is metabolically active, grows but does not replicate in DNA. Nuclear division takes place. DNA synthesis or replication takes place. चलिए इसका भी जवाब ले लेते हैं. Cell is metabolically active, grows but does not replicate is the right one in gap 1 phase. Then name the plant growth regulator which upon spraying on sugarcane crop increases the length of stem, thus increasing the yield of sugarcane crop. Gibberellin, ethylene, abscisic acid, cytokinins. Cytokinins for cell division, abscisic acid for stopping growth, ethylene for maturation of fruits, gibberellin for increasing the length of internodes. So the right answer is gibberellic acids or gibberellin. Identify the wrong statement with reference to gene I that controls ABO blood groups. A person will have only 2 of 3 alleles. When IA and IB are present together, they express same type of sugar. Allele I does not produce any sugar. The gene I has 3 alleles. Now this is the question, and options are also in front of you. The right answer is when IA IB are present together, they express same type of sugar. That is 2. Second option is incorrect. Incorrect, hai na? Yeah, wrong statement. Second option is wrong statement. Then identify one more wrong statement with reference to immunity. When ready-made antibodies are directly given, it is called as passive immunity. Active immunity is quick and gives full response. Fetus receives some antibodies from mother. It is an example for passive immunity. When exposed to antigen, living or dead, antibodies are produced in host body. It is called active immunity. Here also you have to identify the wrong one. And the wrong one is active immunity is quick and gives full response. Active immunity is not quick and does not give full response. Then next question, the enzyme enterokinase helps in conversion of trypsinogen into trypsin, caseinogen into casein, pepsinogen into pepsin, protein into polypeptides. Enterokinase is an activating enzyme and it helps in conversion of trypsinogen into trypsin, which is very important for starting of protein digestion. The specific palindromic sequence which is recognized by ECOR1 is 5 prime GGAACC 3 dash and 3 dash CCTT GG. Palindromic sequence means it should read same from 5 prime to 3 prime and 3 prime to 5 prime. ऐसा कौन सा option है? Which is that option you have to identify. Okay, चलिए, we'll identify that. 80th question, 5 prime to GAATTC mirror image जैसा होना चाहिए. So fourth option is the correct mirror image, right? So GATTC and GATTC in reverse manner. So it is palindromic sequence. Fourth option is the palindromic sequence. Then match the columns and select the correct option. BT cotton, adenosine, RNAi, PCR, gene therapy, cellular defense, deaminase mechanism, detection of HIV infection, Bacillus thuringiensis. Options are given 1 2 3. चलो इसको भी चूज कर लेते हैं. BT cotton, Bacillus thuringiensis is right. Adenosine, gene therapy, RNAi, RNA interferase it is. RNA interferase is used in cellular defense deaminase deficiency. PCR is used in detection of HIV infection. So the right answer is fourth option. चलिए, Floridian starch has structure similar to amylopectin and glycogen, mannitol and algin, laminar and cellulose, starch and cellulose. Floridian starch has similar structure to amylopectin and glycogen. Which of the following statement is not correct? The proinsulin has an extra peptide called C-peptide. The functional insulin has A and B chains linked together by hydrogen bonds. Genetically engineered insulin is produced in E. coli. In man, insulin is synthesized by proinsulin, which is not correct. Second one, the functional insulin has A, B chains linked together by hydrogen bonds is the wrong statement. Flippers of penguins and dolphins are examples of convergent evolution, industrial melanism, natural selection, adaptive radiation. Again, for this, the correct answer is convergent evolution, having similar function but different in organization. Analogous organs. Which of the following refer to correct examples of organisms which have evolved due to changes in environment brought about by anthropogenic activities? Darwin's finches of Galapagos Island, herbicide-resistant wheat, drug-resistant eukaryotes, man-created breeds of domesticated animals like dogs. Yeah. So the right answer is herbicide-resistant wheats is the correct answer. नहीं, इसमें दो दो ऑप्शन है, सॉरी, ANC, BCD, 3D only, 4A only. अच्छा, B is also correct, C is also correct, D is also correct. So the option is second option, 85. Yeah, second option is right. Identify the wrong statement with reference to transport oxygen. Transport of oxygen. Partial pressure of CO2 can interfere with oxygen binding with hemoglobin. Higher H plus concentration in alveoli favors the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Lower partial pressure of CO2 in alveoli favors the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is mainly related to partial pressure of O2. Again, in 86th question, the right answer is second option. Higher H plus concentration in alveoli favors the formation of oxyhemoglobin. The process of growth is maximum during lag phase, senescence, dormancy, log phase. The process of growth is maximum in log phase, also called as exponential phase. Fourth option. Which of the following regions of globe exhibits highest species diversity? Madagascar, Himalayas, Amazon forest, Western Ghats of India. Highest species diversity. Amazon rainforest shows highest diversity. Then the sequence that controls the copy of number of linked DNA in vector is termed as ORI site, palindromic sequence, recognition site, selectable marker. The first option is the right answer. ORI site, origin site. Match the following columns and select the correct option. Last question of the NEET biology. Placenta, zona pellucida, bulbourethral gland, Leydig cells, human reproduction वाला topic है ये. Androgen, HCG, layer of ovum glands, lubrication of penis. Options you have to match and identify. चलिए मैच कर लेते हैं. Placenta, layers of ovum glands. No. Placenta releases human chorionic gonadotrophin HCG. Then zona pellucida, layer of ovum glands, bulbourethral gland, lubrication of penis, Leydig glands, androgens, that is testosterone. So third option is the right answer. So by this we complete the 90 questions, solving of 90 questions with the key answers, mentioning the chapters from which they have appeared. So I hope you might have clearly understood the explanation. Thank you one and all.